Hopefully it's another one of those good days, you know? Not really have for anything going around out here. Yeah, loving life down here in New Zealand, especially this airport. Oh, yeah, what's going on today? Doesn't look like much. Huh. Ooh. Nice. Right. Hey, can somebody get... Right. Oh, God, there's nobody else here. All right. All right. Hello. Nice to meet you. How can I accommodate you today? Oh, hello, boss. What are you saying? I can't hear you. It sounds like there's a lot of people around. Can you speak up, please? Oh, all right. You need me to do an MEL listed item repair down at our other facility? Where are we going? Auckland International today. Oh, okay. I see. Right. You want me to take the BAE 146? Get our maintenance done? Yeah, I see it. Right. No, that won't be a problem. The weather's nice out. Listen, one other small detail. You think I could get a pay raise, maybe? Huh? Was I joking? What? No, I was kidding. I was just kidding. No, I'd be happy. Thanks. No, don't worry about it. All right, I gotta go. No problem, boss. It's static. It's static. I can't hear what you're saying. Bye. Hey, yeah, I guess you heard it over the loudspeaker, huh? Gotta take the 146 up to... Yeah, out to Auckland today. Are you... Is the plane ready? Can you even hear me? Is everything alright? What are you doing to that poor tug? I gotta go. Can you please answer me? Man, people around here are so bizarre. Whatever. Guess I better fire this machine on up and get up to Auckland, huh? And greetings, viewers. We're here back with the 146, getting ready to take off from Nelson Airport here in Christchurch, New Zealand, and we're headed north to Auckland, New Zealand. It's a 300 and some odd plus mile trip today. We've got the FMS programmed in. Everything's cleared for takeoff. We are ready to go. Sit back and enjoy the takeoff. Thanks for being here today. positive rate. Gear up. And flaps retracted. Trimming out the aircraft.
November, continue for north departure.
Nelson Tower, British Aerospace, Zulu Kilo, November, Zulu November, continue for north departure.
And you'll notice we had the Navigraph programmed in there before the flight.
Nelson Tower, British Aerospace, Zulu Kilo, November, Zulu November, frequency change.
And as always, I'll try to keep this video to a minimum with the supercuts so you don't have to sit for the entire flight. Of course, Auckland is on the northern end of that other New Zealand island, just to our northeast. And I'm just currently trimming the aircraft out so that we can have a hands-free flight as best as possible. And I'm getting closer to flying the, you'll notice right in front of the yoke there, we're a little bit to the right, but I'm going to be flying towards the 4 nautical mile marker there for our departure intersection. And as always, thank you for joining me today on the channel while we fly this flight out of New Zealand. And we'll just let the autopilot take over there, intercept our course. So I've got our altitude programmed there for 17,500 feet. We're going up 1,000 feet a minute. And everything's looking A-OK. Of course, let me program into the GPS here, the FMS screen, so that you can see our legs. And we're going to go to Inedo, Bisbee, Apabo, Omaha, VBAG. And then MRAG is basically the ILS level 3000 on the altimeter to intercept the glide slope. And we're expecting a runway 23 over at Auckland. So unless that changes, we'll just keep that pre-programmed into the FMS there. A little less than 18 nautical miles to our next waypoint, staying below 250 knots, under 10,000 feet, as always. And we're running the engines fairly easy today, as we currently have a minimum equipment list item that we have ticked off, circuit breakers pulled and locked down. So we're going to head up to Auckland, get that fixed at the maintenance space we have there. More mechanics, more tools, better facility. And hopefully you enjoyed the Nelson departure. That was a DLC airport. And Auckland is also going to be a DLC airport on our arrival, so you'll get to see the awesome scenic views, not only just on departure, but also on approach. And the scenery out here in New Zealand is quite literally, I think it speaks for itself. Mountainous regions, plenty to see. So, thank you for being here. And just a service announcement as well for those of you who just recently subscribed to the channel. Thank you. Each and every one of you make a difference and inspire me to continually keep creating content. And with that in mind, I look forward to making videos, and hopefully I'm reaching out and making individuals either learn something new and interesting, or hopefully putting a smile to people's faces and brightening up people's days. That is what I do this for. So thank you as well for being here if you had already joined just recently. And if you're considering joining the channel and subscribing, I would greatly appreciate it. My goal is to reach hopefully 50 subscribers so that I can start doing these flights in real time with the live streams, which you need a minimum of 50 base to be able to do the streams. So that's just a heads up as my general service announcement. But like I said, thank you for being here. Your presence is greatly appreciated. Anyways, back to the flight. You can see we got just under 10 nautical miles to the next waypoint. And because my videos are either longer and more informative, not necessarily the review type, but they are either that or they're shorter with more editing supercuts between camera angles and views. So this one's probably going to be a shorter video in hopes, because I don't want to have, boredom creeping up with the 300 plus miles that these legs are going to take in total today till we get to Auckland, excuse me. So I'll go ahead and start capturing some external shots here for you guys and gals hopefully out there, and maybe you can see a little bit more about the BAE on the exterior and the exquisite PBR texture. So let's do that, and then I'll supercut back to when we're at 17,500 feet, just over that ocean to our north. So let's go grab them external. Alright, and just like that, we're back in the flight deck. I want to get a couple things straightened out here. You can see on our navigational chart that we are now indeed over the water, so we have some time to set a couple of these instruments up. So the first thing I'm going to do is just hop on back over here to the pilot's in command seat there. And I'm going to take a look-see down here to our augmented thrust system here. And I have it set up for 625 turbine gas temperature in Celsius. So what I'm going to do is throw on the TGT. We're within augmented throttle range. So the throttles are going to manage. TGT is the reference for our throttle setting, and we're just going to let that run by itself. The other thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and hop back over here now that we have some time, and we'll use the Navigraph charts to look at our approach here. So I'm going to backspace this, and we're going to see a November Zebra Zebra, or November Zebra Alpha Alpha. And let's look at Auckland for the approach plate here. And I'm going to say we're coming in on the ILS. We'll see what our options are here. And I'm going to say, let's try this one. There we go. That's exactly what I was looking for. So you can see this is MRAG, Oriso, so on and so forth, all the way down as the approach plate into runway 23. So it calls out the altitudes that we need to be at. We'll set those before we get anywhere near final approach. And we're also going to look at the navigational channel here, 109.9 for the localizer with an approach course of 231. So let's set those up right now. 109.9 on the VHF nav. And I'm just going to set that on both here. .9. That way I'm sure no matter which channel I'm on, it'll either be the standby or the active. And then we said our navigational approach course is going to be 231 for a track. So we'll switch our course knob here to 231. And this will just be in preparation in advance to stay ahead of the aircraft and everything that's going on while we're focusing on landing for final approach. So yeah, you're going to want to dial that to 231. And now in theory, with 109.9 set on our nav radio as well as our navigational course heading of 231, according to the Navigraph approach plate chart here, as long as we roll up on our approach at MRAG 3000, we'll pick up a 3-degree down slope straight to the runway threshold. So MRAG at 3000, Oriso at 2000, so on and so forth, all the way in. Not expecting any weather issues here today, but there is a light cloud base there, so of course you may notice that we have 256.6 nautical miles left to go, so anything can happen with the weather in that time. But in the meanwhile, how's about we go ahead and just hop outside again and grab a couple more external shots. Once we finish with that, I'm going to go ahead and supercut all the way to approach. That way you don't have to sit for the 250 plus nautical miles all the way to Auckland. So let's try that now. Alright, just like that, we dropped a whole bunch of altitude and we're under 250 knots indicated here. We are 10 miles nautical to Varig intersection. We're going to cross it at 4,000 feet. The next one on our approach plate listed by the Navigraph chart on the left is MRAG at 3,000. So we'll make the proper 1,000-foot drop for that, and then we should be on final approach. At that point, I'll go ahead and switch over to the ILS side of the navigation, and we'll call out that we're on final into Auckland. We'll touch down, and that'll conclude the video. So it should not take too much longer, as we are essentially almost about on final approach here. This is our last intersection we're approaching at Varig before we are on final for runway, as they stated in game, 25, but the approach plate says a final course for approach at 231 degrees. So as long as we're plugged in here, we're going to have to be comparing basically with our eyesight the Navigraph approach compared to what the in-game runway heading is. So we'll test that when we get there. It's good enough VFR conditions, and we'll manage to make our way down to the runway threshold in a proper fashion here. So 4.5 miles to Varig, then I'm going to adjust for 3,000 feet on the altimeter. Things should start ticking over quite quickly at that point. And we've already got our landing lights on so that we are ready essentially for final approach. We'll just have to knock back some speed, throw in some flaps, maybe a little bit of speed brake, get to the V reference or closer to once we're on final, and then we shouldn't have any problems touching down with this aircraft. And 2 miles and counting. You can see us on the approach plate now, coming right in over that track. We'll make that right hand to Varig, and that'll put us on with MRAG. So you can see there's not much space in between the two intersection points. So I'm going to go ahead and just call up 3,000 feet right now. And I'll zoom in. Altimeter arm. I'll come down here. Look for the pitch, nose down. And we'll start adjusting for 3,000 feet. I'm going to say somewhere above a 1,000 foot per minute descent. Pull back some power so we don't get too fast above 250 knots indicated. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up air traffic control at this point and tell them that we're turning on to final basically. Once we straighten out here at 3,000, heading towards the runway direction, I'm going to go ahead and swap both the pilot and co-pilot side over to the navigation side of things. Yeah, we're almost there. I'm going to bring in some speed brake here.
2,500.
And it's going 2,500, but that's alright. We have plenty of visual range out there. And there's our runway. So let me go ahead and reach on over here and grab that to nav. Grab this to nav. And I'm going to fly the approach the rest of the way. There's the annunciation for autopilot off. And welcome to the Auckland airspace here. So, let's just double verify this. And we have called out. Alright. Throwing a little bit of speed brake to hit the 160 knot range or thereabouts. And as you can see on the compass rose there, we approximately are lined up, left and right. Gears coming down. And I'll also throw in a notch of flaps. And just for viewers' preference, I left the approach plate up so that you can watch that as it's making its way down to the runway. I'm going to throw in another bunch of flaps. And let's go full on the flaps. I'm going to trim out. And I'm going to lose a little bit of altitude here because we're just a little bit high. This is my first time landing in Auckland, and it is the DLC, paid market store content, so it should look pretty impressive. Again, we're here to bring our aircraft to the maintenance facility so that we can have that MEL cleared up. That way we can bring passengers aboard and start making money with our BAE. And this is nice for a slow approach. We're just floating along with full flaps here. And you can see we have white over white just beyond the touchdown zone where all the skid marks are. So we're just still a little high, that's okay. Plenty left and right. Wiggle room there, we're right on track for the center line.
1,000.
And I'd rather be high than low in terms of energy. Do not want to run out of airspeed and energy while being too low. So it's quite a long runway, certainly long enough for this 146. And there's our first red.
500.
And there we are, right on track, white over red. And you can see in our artificial horizon there, we have the, right in the center of the dot, we have that yellow marker indicating that we're right on the vertical path for glide slope. And we are obviously accurate both left and right.
Minimums.
Little low. We'll pull back just a tad. And decision height was 200 feet, so we can clearly see the runway while we're at
50.
below
40.
or at 200 feet.
30.
So I'm going to chop the
40.
throttles and then just start my flare. And just like that, we're down. And that's one of the reasons why they call this aircraft the Whisper Jet. Because you can barely hear it running for the simple fact that it even has 4 engines and is as quiet as it is, quite amazing. So we'll clear this runway and then we'll clean the aircraft up a little bit before we taxi over to the maintenance hangar. Ta-da! And voila, just like that, I've gone and saved you the boredom and the task of arduously shutting down this aircraft in all of its glory. We're right here in front of the maintenance hangar, and the maintenance crew has already been contacted. I'm informed they're on their way out to fix our minimum equipment list items so that we can bring this aircraft up to fully operational status. If you'd like to see more BAE 146 content, I'll leave a link in the top right so that you can see a previously recorded episode with this craft. And if you're already subscribed, thank you. And if you're not, please consider joining the channel. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers, as I said, so that we can start doing live streams with these aircraft. Go ahead and throw a like as well. It really helps the channel and the video. And with that, hopefully you've enjoyed today. You've enjoyed the scenery and the plane. So, until the next time, thank you for being here. Have a great day, and bye-bye.